Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Today, we're talking about the right Bob for the job. The Spider-Verse is going to look 6 times better, and we're discussing the trailers from CCXP 22 that came out on what seemed like a normal Thursday, but it was actually a Thursday in disguise. All this and everything else that happened this week in Geek.
Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Hey, it's Nate, and if you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, toys, collectibles, gaming, and all things geek-centric. Now, before we get to this episode, I want to let you know that if you're a huge Star Wars fan like us, we just wrapped our most recent weekly watch club for Star Wars Andor. Let me do that again. We just wrapped our most recent watch club for Star Wars Andor, and all episodes are out now. So if you've seen the show and want to hear our thoughts and speculation for it, then definitely check out those episodes. And if you haven't watched Andor yet, well, all the episodes are out on Disney+, so you can watch 3 episodes and then follow along with us 3 episodes at a time. Oh, and I am so stoked to mention that we will be doing a weekly watch club for yet another beloved Star Wars series. Our Star Wars The Bad Batch watch club is coming back for a season 2, and all the batches will be joining us. That's going to be happening in January along with the show. So please come hang out and write in so you can be part of the conversation. Speaking of conversation, let me tell you who's joining us for this week in Geek. We have the mushroom-loving Maximal, who's cracking the whip while saying thwip thwip. She's the mantis of our maniacal menagerie. She's Megan, the mindfulness stone Clara.
Wow, hello. I'm always amazed by how you do this alliteration.
Hey, it's you know what? I've got some websites bookmarked that have like I have Google searches for like words that start with M, descriptive words that start with M, Star Wars words that start with M. So yeah, that's in my history. But I thought a mindfulness stone. I think if you had any of the Infinity Stones, it would be that one.
That was wow. I'm speechless. And also on my first ever This Week in Geek. I'm so excited.
Very excited to have you. But listen, joining us fresh out of the jaws of a Predacon. He's jonesing for more adventures, but he's misplaced his dentures. He's Justin, the Luigi lover, Lawrence.
I am a Luigi lover, 100%. I am.
I think so.
How are you?
I think so. I'll say tudo bem is apparently how you say how are you in Brazil. We got a lot of news out of Brazil recently, a lot of trailers that we're going to jump into. But before we get to the news and trailers, I wanted to welcome you, Megan, your first This Week in Geek episode. You've been quite busy, so I didn't think that we'd get you on one of these main episodes until next year. Yep. But you're here.
I'm here. I made it.
Fantastic.
Hallelujah.
Fantastic. Hallelujah. Your busyness is over. You were moving. You've moved entire 3 times, I think, in the last time I talked to you.
No kidding.
Or at least it feels
Moved
that way.
towns, just vacationing and helping out family, and also moved house from an apartment to a house. So that's exciting.
Jeez.
And a lot of work, but it's been fun.
Do you enjoy the task of moving?
I'm a very organized person, so when I get to do the moving, sure. But there were a lot of people involved, and I was also away 2 days after we moved in. So I kind of got to do packing, but not really. And I sort of got to set up some stuff when we got here, but then I was gone for 2 weeks. So the last 5 days, well, I guess it's been a week now since I've been home. I've been almost nesting, but I'm not having a baby. So yeah.
Yeah, everyone else is having babies, Justin.
I know. I can totally relate to that. It's just taking care of your nest and, worrying about everything else that's going on. So I'm definitely on the same vibe. I'm trying to get rid of some stuff, declutter. So I can relate.
Well, I'm nesting, and I just keep buying more and more things, and that keeps surrounding me. So, speaking of something that I might buy, we got some breaking news. Before we get to the actual news, I don't know if you two saw, but the release date for Star Wars Jedi Survivor has potentially been leaked. According to Tom Ivan over at VGC, the sequel's release date accidentally went up on Steam before promptly getting taken down. The release date was listed as March 15th. Alongside a new date came a few new images of some pre-order bonuses, which I just recently sent to you guys. You can check those out, including new outfits and weapons for Cal Kestis. I am so stoked for this game. Those pre-order bonuses look fantastic. I'm so happy to see that it's not just ponchos. Like the first game, don't get me wrong, it was fun to collect ponchos, but after your 19th poncho, I'm like, I don't know if we need more ponchos.
Say poncho again.
Poncho!
Yeah, how many ponchos can you fit into this sentence? The pre-purchase, deluxe edition features what they call it, the scoundrel cosmetic, and then the Rebel
it's
hero.
supposed to be like a Han Solo
and it's very
look.
Han Solo skin, or a Luke Skywalker. I don't know. I prefer the ponchos then. You know what I mean? At least they were to his character. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to knock off what you've already done. But I do really like the hermit skin. I feel like it really does resemble the idea of being inspired from what's come from the Jedi style, because that looks like a robe, but is it a robe that he's wearing in the first one?
Well, it says the hermit cosmetic, so I'm guessing it's like an old Obi-Wan sort of hermit Obi-Wan style. And that kind of looks like Obi-Wan's lightsaber,
does. The
right?
lightsaber, the hermit lightsaber set definitely looks good. It's interesting, though, that they're skinning this game with sort of prefabs from past movies. Isn't it? You know what I mean?
Adjusting their outfit.
Yeah, and giving it more of a personality of who Cal Kestis is. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to emulate those existing things. But
Cal Kestis is a poncho, so
we
know
exactly. He is a poncho. Come on, he's Red Dead Redemption.
I'm digging the BD1 R2D2 skin.
I was just gonna say that.
That's dope. That's so dope.
It looks really cool.
These images look great. The fact that this is on a Steam page, it's all legit. It seems all official. That March 15th date does seem correct. And we're getting a new trailer for this game with gameplay footage at the Game Awards on Thursday, which I cannot wait for, and I'm sure we'll have to talk about at some point. But March 7th, Sam Meggs is going to be releasing Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars. Cool. Maybe I'll actually read a book, you guys. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm sure
they'll have it in an audiobook. I might actually, if they have it in an audiobook,
Smart.
then I would do it that way. So.
It's I felt the force of Darcy speaking through you just then.
Exactly.
Manifest.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, listen, before our planet gets invaded by animal-shaped robots, let's get to the news.
It's all about the details.
All right, our first news story, Disney shocker. It's a bit of an older news story, but we just, as Disney fans, we have to talk about it. Bob Iger returning as CEO. Bob Chapek exit. This comes from Alec Weprin at The Hollywood Reporter. In a stunning turn of events, the Walt Disney Company says that Bob Chapek will step down as CEO, with Bob Iger returning to lead the company. Disney's board of directors announced the decision in late November. Quote, "We thank Bob Chapek for his service to Disney over his long career, including navigating the company through the unprecedented challenges of the pandemic," said Susan Arnold, chairman of the board, in a statement. Continuing the quote, "The board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, Bob Iger is uniquely situated to lead the company through this pivotal period." While Iger will be returning to his old role, the board also made it clear that his new term will be a temporary one. I believe they're looking at about 2 years, with a mandate from the board to set the strategic direction for renewed growth and to work closely with the board in developing a successor to lead the company at the completion of his term, the board said. The answer to the question, who will be Iger's successor, is sure to be hotly debated, given that much of the prior decade saw a wave of executives speculated as a possibility only to exit or be passed over. Iger stepped aside as CEO in February 2020, handing the reins over to Chapek, who previously led the company's theme parks and consumer products division. Iger continued to serve as executive chairman of the company, stepping down from that position just 11 months ago. In a letter to Disney employees, Iger wrote, quote, "I know this company has asked so much of you during the past 3 years, and these times certainly remain quite challenging. But as you have heard me say before, I am an optimist. And if I learned one thing from my years at Disney, it is that even in the face of uncertainty, perhaps especially in the face of uncertainty, our employees and cast members achieve the impossible," end quote. So again, this is older news, but we're huge Disney fans. We're going to talk about this. It's going to stay relevant for what seems like at least 2 years. So, folks, what are your thoughts on this news, and what changes do you hope this brings for the Walt Disney Company?
Well, I'm so happy to have the Bob we love and trust back. And I'll give it to Bob Chapek for dealing with the pandemic and dealing with Disney through the pandemic. But there was a lot that happened with him that I think can be argued pretty heavily was not good for the image of Disney. And I think that having Bob Iger back is a great way to mold a new CEO that will be influential and forward thinking and, you know, look at all things that matter that need to be shown in Disney format. You know, I would love for the new CEO not to be named Bob.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
Maybe a female.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a Barbara. A Barbara comes in. Yeah.
You know, obviously it would be incredible to see a female, see BIPOC, see LGBTQ plus at the head of something like this. That's a huge ask. I don't think it's impossible, but at least getting a couple things in there that are really important to have at a head of Disney would be really, really incredible. And also, I think it's important to have somebody who knows Disney inside and out and not just like a business person. Yeah.
Right, because Chapek was very much a business person, right? Like, and that's kind of
sales
where
and stuff,
he
right?
was sort of focused, right? And I think Iger is more of a visionary, like bringing in Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel. These are really impressive things, and I know it wasn't just Bob Iger alone, but to kind of spearhead that, I think Chapek, coming from more of the park side, honestly didn't really do a ton to improve the parks since he took over. And don't get me wrong, dealing with a pandemic, I'm sure no one's done it before. It absolutely is understandable, some of the changes that had to come. But I think as we've sort of seen some of those restrictions relaxed a little bit as we've grown through these 3 years of the pandemic, it doesn't quite seem as though Disney has fully gotten back to that place with their parks, to the place where you know you can kind of go and have this extremely magical experience without the stress of reservation systems and Genie Plus and what have you. And I think there's a lot to be said about kind of having a bigger focus on that. But I also think Iger has the ability to focus on more than just that. I think he has the ability to focus on the experience you have when you leave the park and what is that all about, right? And I think between him and Josh D'Amaro, who's going to be, you know, he's the lead for Disney Parks, like I think both of them are really going to kind of utilize that partnership really well, because I think Iger, very much like in my mind, I always think about Steve Jobs, is the kind of person that surrounds themselves with incredibly smart people and you know, utilizes their talents to get the job done. And I just don't know if we really saw that from Chapek over his you know, long
11
term,
months.
I guess.
11 months. It's
Yeah.
the shortest period. Like, we forget that it's been only 11 months and he's already out.
Yeah.
So you guys are both right. They focused on experience rather than the creative. And I think Iger did so much of the creative in his 15 years with, you know, the acquisition of Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, and then starting and kicking off a streaming service. It was all about content. It was all about the experience outside of the parks, as you were describing, Nate. So, you know, the shift of trying to say, oh, well, Chapek will drive Disney for the experiences now. will push the parks. It definitely didn't work, especially during a pandemic when things should be kind of scaling back. I think with Iger's return, we will see a shift in focus for the company back to creative, focusing on probably, streaming content and the straight to consumer. But also, there's been a lot of unverified reports that Iger could be looking at the books of, where spending will be going for up and coming projects, Marvel Studios being included in that. And who knows, maybe, some of their movies do get scaled back. Maybe this is part of the reason why we were hearing some of those discussions about series being turned into special presentations for more cost-effective purposes. But all this to say that with Iger's return, it will be a benefit. It will be interesting to see how the company shifts, because clearly Chapnick wasn't right for the company moving forward.
Totally. And I think there's also a part of the film side of Disney that has dwindled a little, in my personal opinion. I think we've had really incredible leads of movies like On Turning Red, Raya and the Last Dragon was good. I didn't see Strange World. I know you guys did. But I haven't heard glowing reviews of that movie. So
yeah, we thought it was a little mid. I think Darcy liked it the most out of the three of us that watched it. But yeah, no, I think, and a lot of that has to do with sort of just an incredible lack of marketing for that movie, unfortunately. And again, is this something that we might see?
They pulled back.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
I honestly believe that, again, with Iger stepping back in, it's going to be about the content again, not about the experience. I think they made the shift, and the parks just kind of fell apart with the pandemic, so they have to revert back.
Yeah.
They have to go back to the content, because content is the thing right now. People are watching shit and enjoying stuff, right? So I think, again, it'll influence the parks, and it'll be in the parks. I'm wondering if even what Josh was pitching at D23, if some of that's going to be scaled back. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also think too, they were forcing, I guess, if Bob Chapek's head of sales or what was that position that he had, Nate?
Theme parks and consumer products division.
Consumer products. I mean, I guess that's more, physical things, but
experience.
when you have a consumer brain and you're thinking about experience and expenses and things like that, the Disney branded movies were either you had to pay a premium to get access to them the moment they were meant to release, or eventually when we got to go back to theaters, they would be in theaters before they were on Disney Plus. And I found that they shafted some of their other companies, like Pixar was all on Disney Plus immediately, made no extra money other than the Disney Plus monthly fees until Lightyear. I'm pretty sure it was the first Pixar movie to go back to theaters. So, and those movies are better than a lot of the Disney movies.
No,
right?
I totally agree. I think they shift the marketing, and they were focused on using the theater experience for the Disney Studio stuff. And also the premium, where you had to pay more, as you were mentioning, Meg. But Pixar, Marvel, even Star Wars, these are big name brands that they're using to draw more eyes to the platform of Disney Plus without that extra charge, without that surplus. So it's an interesting strategy, but they did have that whole debacle with Black Widow, and it was a premium purchase off of Disney Plus that did not go well for the company overall. But with 2023 just around the corner, I'm certain that we're going to get more in-theater experiences. I don't think we're going to have as many of these movies being pushed to streaming or shifted. Things would have to get worse for us to kind of see that. So, but we'll see what happens.
This change, I think Iger's on a bit of cleanup duty, right? Not just from the negative things that happened over Chapek's rule, but, I think a lot of those things that happened during Chapek's rule were within Disney's control. And he was part of dropping the ball there. But I also think there was a lot of things that were out of their control with the pandemic specifically. And I think Iger is smart enough that, again, he's not the one to enact that change everywhere. I think beyond his partnership with Josh D'Amaro, though, I do think I think he's gonna kind of remain in that side of like, I get that they need to find a way to get money back, but I feel like he's going to just say, Kevin Feige, continue to take the reins, continue to make those decisions. I don't know how much of sort of a scale back that they might do. I do know, though, that out of all of this, I think I was happiest mostly for the cast members. I think that made me the most happy. There's a lot of cast members that have been working there for a long time who had a really phenomenal experience when he was
Steve Jobs
CEO.
Yeah,
he was Steve,
company,
right?
Yeah.
And so to have him back, I think that's going to be his first focus is cast members. It's like anything with retail, with any experience, any customer service experience. If your employees are happy, if they're beyond happy, if they're passionate to be doing their jobs, you're going to give a magical experience to your customers. And I think that's kind of his main focus, especially seeing that like the first thing he did as soon as this was announced is he did a town hall and spoke directly to his employees.
Do you think that we're going to get the Disney store back in Canada?
I think
Probably
if they're
not,
trying to
but-
save money, probably not.
No, I honestly think that they just need to make the online capabilities a lot easier.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's all they need to do.
Yeah, remove those crazy shipping costs. Like, find a way. I think we're going to see most likely reservations in the parks start to go away in terms of reserving a park day. I think we're going to see how they might update how that system works, how Genie Plus works. And I don't think these things will happen right away. I think they have a higher chance of happening sooner, though, now that Iger is back. And it's going to be really interesting to see at the end of the 2 years, A, what has changed within those 2 years, and B, what are the plans going forward? Who will be that successor, and how are they going to hopefully continue to instill what Bob Iger has done such a great job of doing as CEO? We'll have to see. In the multiverse of all the Bobs in the world, and that actually reminds me of another multiverse. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will have 6 dominant art styles. This comes from Ben Travis at Empire, who writes, when Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse hit cinemas in 2018, it broke computer-generated animation as we know it, remodeling the medium in front of our very eyes into something that felt entirely new. Playing around with frame rate, multiple animation styles, comic book textures, and more, it ripped up the rulebook and wrote its own. One in perfect sync with the origin story of incoming hero Miles Morales. But if that wasn't ambitious enough, Miles' next adventure is about to double down on everything that made the first film so special. So much so that 2023's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse isn't just one sequel, it's 2. A double whammy of multiverse hopping madness set to conclude in 2024's Beyond the Spider-Verse. That wild ambition means eye-popping visuals are about to get even more dazzling too. Quote, the first film had one animation style that dominates the movie. This movie has 6, laughs returning producer Phil Lord. Quote, so we're taking those tools and adding all the things we learned on The Mitchells versus the Machines, and then growing them further to accommodate the ambition of this movie, which is to wow you every time you enter a new environment, and also to make sure that the style of the movie reflect the story and that the images are driven by feelings as opposed to some egg-headed art project, which it also is, by the way. As the title Across the Spider-Verse would suggest, expect an epic trek through various spider realities. Quote, the 2 that you saw in the teaser trailer, which was released earlier, were what's called Earth 50101, which we're calling Mumbattan, which it's based on an Indian comic book look, and it's like Mumbai and Manhattan, which is awesome. And then Nueva York from Spider-Man 2099's world, explains producer Christopher Miller, and that's based on Sid Mead style illustrations of what the future might look like. And then there's also Gwen's World, which is Earth 65, and that was a watercolor wash style that's reminiscent of the covers of her comic books. Miles Morales' journey has just begun, and the Spider-Verse awaits. So this news has me so hyped, if you can't already tell while I'm reading all this and trying not to freak out. It was recently announced we're also going to be getting another trailer for this, more than just a teaser trailer, a full trailer on December 13th, which we'll definitely be covering that, maybe in a trailer drop, maybe in a watch club. We'll see how it works out in the time-wise. But in the meantime, what kind of styles do you think we're going to see in this upcoming sequel?
I mean, I'm the animation artist of the group, but I could not wrap my head around this. 6 different, like, dominant art styles throughout an entire movie. I was blown away by the first one because it literally dropped animation on its head and flipped it around and did something a lot of us have never seen before. The little moment when he said, we're going to use what we learned on Mitchell's versus the Machines, really sparked my interest because I got to participate in some lectures over Zoom during the Lightbox Expos that have been happening over the last 2 years online. And the director, he was mentioning that they created a new animation to animate line art on top of the character animation. So, like, all of the rigging points that would happen in a body are also on the line art separately, which is so intricate and crazy to think about. So I really hope that they bring something like that into this, where it feels 2D, but it also feels very 3D, which I think is so, so cool. Obviously keep the comic book style with the little dots and the, like, bam and the sort of staccato movement that you feel when you're watching the original movie. And then a couple extras that I sort of hope to see were like a sketchy black and white, which they kind of did in the first
with
one.
Spider-Man Noir?
Yeah. But I'm feeling more the, like, illustration side of things rather than, like, block black and white.
Okay.
I think that would be super cool. I would love a, like, impressionist style world with, like, inspiration from Monet and French Impressionism. Wow. I think it would be so beautiful. You know that painting of A Day at the Park? Mm-hmm. Imagine that animated.
With Spider-Man.
Crazy. That would be so cool. And if any movie's going to do it, I feel like these guys at Sony Animation can figure that out.
Can pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of what you described makes sense, you know, to have outline animate on its own separate from the actual body that it's rigged to. It's like gives it a little bit more of a 2-dimensional and a 3-dimensional space. But yeah, this movie's reinvented animation. It kind of in many ways showed what's possible when you do think outside of the box. And there's such a collage of aesthetics and styles that are featured in Into the Spider-Verse that, you know, you have to go big and bold with it in this one. And I'm really happy that that's their commitment. That's the success point for them beyond just everyone loving the story of Miles and everything is the bold venture that they took in the field of animation, in the filmmaking style of the animation that they're doing, and they want to go bigger with that, right? You know, one for best animated feature at the Oscars. So I think it's going to challenge, it's going to push those boundaries. But in terms of what styles, honestly, I don't really care. I just want to see some new stuff, right? Like if it could feel like some of the stuff that we saw in that teaser was so vivid and unique to itself, it looked amazing on its own. I'm going to be pleasantly surprised when I see it maybe show up in a trailer and we get a sense of what those 6 styles might look like. You know, do they go full like anime? We've seen into the different styles already, sort of with the backstories of the other spider characters that were featured into the Spider-Verse. So if that's what Miles is going to be moving through, something like that, but maybe not necessarily exactly what we've already seen, it'll be interesting. It'll be cool to see what they have in store for us.
Yeah, the Earth 50101 Mumbattan, like seeing, I think it's the Spider-Man that Oscar Isaac is playing. Spider-Man.
He plays the Spider-Man.
He's 2099.
2099.
Yeah.
And so we see, you're kind of what you were mentioning, Megan, of like the body rigging where he's moving forward, but then his colors are like sort of splashing off of him as he moves forward. And it's just so freaking cool. And that's just in a teaser. So I think this is going to be an insane feast for the eyes. I'm so stoked. I think honestly, all of what you've already both just mentioned in terms of styles, I'm like, yeah, give me a Spider-Man in a Ghibli art style would be incredible. Can we bring on some additional guest artists to come in and work on those parts of the film? And the idea that we're going to be getting 6 of them, the only thing that I hope is that it still feels balanced in a way. I just hate the idea of like being like, oh, I love this part of the movie, and then like none of the rest of the movie looks and feels that way. So I think if they can find a way to blend it, maybe by giving us a different character from each of those worlds, like in the first movie, that tags along with the overarching adventure, that might be a cool way to sort of keep that going, so that it can feel balanced. But that's kind of, yeah, dude, I would be so stoked for it.
Yeah, I'd love to give just like a quick little shout out to one of their head designers and landscape artists. His name is Patrick O'Keefe, and he's really responsible for that like painterly look on the landscape where all the characters are very like comic book looky and, you know, staccato, whatever, but the backgrounds look like they're washed in that like New York texture and vibe, and I hope that still resonates and stays within the next 2 movies as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we are about to find out, and hopefully I don't want them to show us all 6 animation styles, or if they do, just give us quick like little snapshots in this trailer. I don't want trailer spoils too many things, but that being said, my eyes are going to be glued all over that trailer come December 13th, and we'll be sure to kind of chat about it and talk about it here on the podcast as well. But in the meantime, that is it for news. We've got so many trailers to go to. Special thanks to CCXP22. Shout out to Brazil. But even more than that, there were other trailers that were released that we haven't talked about yet. So listen, break out your banjos because
it's trailer time.
All right, our first trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. This is directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelinek and produced by Chris Meledandri and Mario creator himself, Shigeru Miyamoto. From Illumination comes a new animated film based on the world of Super Mario Bros., starring Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, Seth Rogen, Fred Armisen, Kevin Michael Richardson, Sebastian Maniscalco, and Kari Payton, as well as Charles Martinet, Eric Bauza, and they are both voicing undisclosed characters at this time. The movie, it will be in theaters in North America April 7th, 2023, and in Japan on April 28th, 2023. I think maybe the first time in my entire life that Japan has gotten something after North America, especially something from Nintendo. But listen, both of you, what are your thoughts on the Super Mario Bros. Movie official trailer?
Let's go! Come on, this looks great. This looks fantastic, man.
Yeah.
The animation style is beautiful. It is obviously incredibly reminiscent of everything we know and love of Mario and the worlds that he's from and the galaxies he's from, the games that we love. And I just love how you can still see the nuance of still something that feels like personal to this movie in the animation of Mario and Luigi and even Bowser. Like Bowser looks like Jack Black. Like they really did do a great job of trying to mold the eyebrows and stuff like that. Exactly. And you know what? I know everyone's harping on Pratt, and I gotta say I don't mind it. I really enjoy his I guess his New Yorker Pratt voice, if you will. So it's not bad. Yeah, I'm very excited to see how they're going to bring everything from all of the games into this one movie. To end the trailer with a Mario Kart scene, obviously,
Dude,
is incredible.
so hype.
But to see the Tanuki suit that looks like he's flying like Iron Man, yeah, like it's absolutely stunning. So I'm very excited for this movie. I'm more excited than I would be because I'm a fan of Mario, but I don't think I'm like a diehard fan of Mario.
To go on that Tanuki thing, I love when Peach gets the fire in her hand and then she becomes like Fire Peach. And I love that. I think that's such a cool concept to bring those like other mechanics from the game into this movie. You know, we have regular 2D Super Mario looking levels. We've got Mario Kart. We've got like almost like the DK games in this as well.
Look like Smash.
And Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Like literally everything they could possibly throw into this. I'm stoked. Like you said, Justin, the visuals are beautiful. And I love that they didn't really stray too far from the classic designs of the characters. You know, like Sonic almost did.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it makes me really happy because then you can still get that nostalgic feeling when you watch these characters and see them. And again, voice acting. I wish there were more actual voice actors in these movies rather than just casting names. One specifically for me personally, she does a great job, but I don't hear Peach when I hear
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Thank you. It's just not it doesn't take me out of the film or of the character, but it just doesn't feel as like character-y as maybe the other people. Like Charlie Day playing Luigi sounds amazing to me. And one last little moment on that Chris Pratt talk, it's his final wahoo at the end that I was like, okay, you got me. I
don't think that's him though. I don't think that's him. I think that is the original voice. That's
I was
Montenegro.
listening to it, Justin, because I heard you say that.
Him.
I also agree with Megan. I think that's him. There's a moment when he does the jump onto Rainbow Road where you hear like a that is Charles Martinet for sure. And I think that's how they're going to implement Martinet into this to almost give it away where with Nintendo, they're really protective over this stuff. I mean, you know, that first Mario movie back with the original one with Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins. You know, they were really hurt by that movie. So for them to be really protective over their stuff, I think the idea is we won't get a game in the future that is voiced with all these characters. There will be the Mario cinematic universe and there will be the Mario game universe, and Martinet will always be and you know the voice of Peach will always be those versions of the characters. I do think though with Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, we're getting a badass Princess Peach. Her in the biking outfit and she's like ready to go to war is so cool.
When she whips that staff around.
Yeah, and I think the idea behind that in terms of like bringing in Anya Taylor-Joy, I agree with you. I would have loved more voice actors in this. Kari Payton is voicing King Penguin. Eric Bauza, friend of the show, we'll just say Eric Bauza from Retro Kid. He's I think it says undisclosed role, but I think he's like one of the Koopa Troopa guys. And so there's some voice actors there that are getting these smaller roles. But I think the idea behind Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach is to separate for audiences to say, this is a badass Princess Peach. We're giving you sort of more of a movie-fied version. But honestly, when they announced the cast of this, everyone on the internet was giggling. Everyone was laughing. Everyone's like, this is going to be terrible. Like, honestly, I was like, this is going to be horrible. They're going to minionify Mario. And I will just say, this looks so freaking good. This is so visually impressive. The hair textures, the fur textures, illumination is fantastic. And I think that's something that I might have forgot from a visual standpoint. From a story standpoint, every time I watch this trailer, I see new details in this, and I feel like it's going to be that way throughout the entire movie. Someone pointed out the other day to me that they're like, yeah, Diddy Kong and his girlfriend are in the background of one of the moments. Like, I'm like, what? It's so cool. And so I think the fact that you're right, Justin, the fact they've managed to stuff so much of the stuffed mushroom kingdom into one movie is so cool. I just, yeah, like I'm stoked for everything you mentioned. The Yoshi Stampede, looking straight out of Smash Bros with the multicolored Yoshis in that one
They
you know,
do
mini
travel in
game.
herds.
Oh, they do travel in herds. But like, yeah, like even the map giving us like the Aztec Kong world, the frozen penguin area, Bowser's Kingdom in the sky, like the tubes that we see Mario and Luigi flying through brought me back to my Twitch streaming moments of streaming with you, Megan, and, you know, going through Super Mario 3D World. Like, those are the glass tubes from that game. And it's also dope to see Mario and Luigi plumbing. I'm wondering if we might get a moment with Shigeru Miyamoto that's his house, that they're doing some plumbing for. It's golden toilets and everything. Like they play up this sort of like rich, you know, owner of Nintendo character. Would be really, really fun, or you know, that sort of thing. Or maybe he's come up with a character it would be awesome to see like a fake version of Mario. Maybe Wario is the Mario in their universe, or something like that. Like that this person is gotten rich off of. I don't know. I think it'd be really, really fun. And shout out to Charlie Day as Luigi. I think if everyone's upset about Chris Pratt, everyone is in love with Charlie Day as Luigi, or at least I am, because like, dude, freaking incredible. I will admit, getting a hair pulled out of your mustache is one of the most painful things. So whatever information he gives Bowser in that moment, I'm totally okay with it. I think I can forgive him, unlike how many people aren't willing to forgive Star-Lord for the things he did under pressure, which maybe we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I think it's crazy. Do you think there's anything more that they could do? I mean, there's already a Donkey Kong movie announced. You know, we were kind of talking offline about some other ideas. Did you have any ideas of things that you'd want to see beyond this Mario movie?
Well, I love that. I know in our off-topic or off-chat conversation that Darcy was mentioning a Luigi's Mansion series.
Yes.
Like, I would watch that. I've never really played those games, but I would love to see more Charlie Day. So I would definitely watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, Captain Toad treasure tracker shorts.
Yes.
and then like we could get what's her name? Toadette. Oh my gosh. Of course, the resident Toadette
cast
expert
by
here.
me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that
fantastic.
you call out that it is the, you know, the cinematic universe, because like everything about this trailer very much leans into that notion of creating a new iteration of Mario in the cinematic world. And like listen to the music, it's like a movie score, but
Dude.
it is with the theme song that we know and love. And then you have, you know, this commitment to animation. You know, I love the fact that, you know, Nintendo didn't push to try to like do another live action. It just wouldn't work. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to live in a world that it feels very familiar to it, but also can tell, you know, really great stories. I love the games, don't get me wrong, but like the stories that are going on, you don't really get to appreciate them as much. And I feel like here they have the opportunity to really, you know, push narrative experience with Mario. So yeah,
I completely agree with that, because again, I was saying that Mario's the same story every time. Save the damsel in distress from Bowser or whoever. And how many times can they really tell that story? But throwing in all these characters, having these voices, making it really cinematic gives them the opportunity to create new stories with these characters to go in so many different directions.
Yeah. And it's kind of wonderful that there isn't as much of a story already there that they can, you know, quote unquote ruin for the fans, right? Like, I think there's the canon, there's the lore of them, you know, being plumbers in where are they from? Are they from New York? No, Brooklyn, right? In Brooklyn, and we're even getting that
which is
fully canonized now that they are going to be in Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Bridge is in one of the posters that they showed. Yeah, shout out to Brian Tyler for doing the music, taking Koji Kondo's original theme and just elevating it so much. I'm so excited for the score with this movie. But yeah, I think the only other thing I'd really want is a mini series, kind of like Succession, but with the Koopa Kids. Give us like the dark drama filled like Koopa Kid Succession story. I think would be really, really fun. But let's go to our next trailer. This one for Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Directed by Stephen Caple Jr., in 1994, a pair of archaeologists from Brooklyn come into an ancient conflict through a globe-trotting adventure that ties in with three factions of Transformers: the Maximals, the Predacons, and the Terrorcons. This movie stars Peter Cullen, Ron Perlman, Peter Dinklage, Pete Davidson, Liza Koshy, Michelle Yeoh, Cristo Fernandez, John DiMaggio, David Sobolov, Michaela J. Rodriguez, Anthony Ramos, and Dominique Fishback, and will be exclusively in theaters June 9th, 2023. Let's roll out with your thoughts. What did you guys think of Transformers Rise of the Beasts?
I'm a Transformers fan. I've stuck with it. They're not all good, for sure. Like the first one's the best one, and they really do fall apart after that. This feels like, after we got through the Michael Bay era and we got into Bumblebee, things looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
This was, Bumblebee was a fantastic film that really did focus on the relationship of Bumblebee and Haley Steinfeld's character in the movie, and it had the typical sort of action of, chase down this alien. But what they're doing here is they're definitely using that film as a launching point for this, because apparently this doesn't tie into anything with the Michael Bay. It's like it's slightly influenced, but not really. So it just feels like we're reverting back to the Michael Bay sort of style very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
This feels very bloated to a certain degree, but I don't know. I'm still going to go check it out. I'm still very interested. I loved Beasties or Beast Wars as they're known in the US.
Yeah.
It's like once since I was a kid and watched it all, and I was committed to watching it every week. I think it was like what day was it coming out? It was during the week, and it was in the evenings on YTV.
Oh yeah, dude.
I remember. And I would wait, and then after that I would go to bed or something like that. I remember. But this is definitely hitting the childhood nostalgia. I'm interested to see how they're going to do this, because it looks bigger than it needs to be. Because I think you and I, Nate, were talking about like what if they went down the route of like how Beasties or Beast Wars was, where it was like there were no humans.
Yeah.
It was just about the sort of
Seriously.
territorial battle between the Maximals and the Predacons, right?
Yeah, for me, I'm not the biggest Transformers fan. I definitely watched the first couple, I think, with Shia LaBeouf. And Bumblebee has always been my favorite. I didn't actually see the Bumblebee movie, so I should check that out
So
if you're
good.
giving it good reviews.
It's so good. Yeah.
This looks like a classic Transformers movie to me, just adding these sort of animalistic beasts, which look epic. There's a moment in that trailer, as a Bumblebee fan, does not make me so excited.
Oh no.
It looks like he gets stabbed through the heart, and I don't know what that means for Transformers. But
He's probably
I don't think
fine.
he'll
death
die.
usually.
Yeah,
He's probably
he's
fine.
probably.
Okay.
They're not going to kill
Well-
Bumblebee. Even
in
if they,
that-
even if they did,
he's had some close calls.
right? But even if they did,
Past movies.
it's not going to matter, because apparently none of these movies will matter to each other anymore. Or I don't know the direction that they're taking this. And I think, to your point, Justin, that's kind of where I was with going into this trailer. It honestly felt like a roller coaster for me. Like I was up and down throughout the trailer. I think super generic starting moment, like in a world, like just okay, cool. We've done that so many times. And then we get Optimus Primal talking to Optimus Prime, and I was like, okay, here we are. Okay, you're getting there for me. The nostalgia of seeing the Maximals like Primal, voiced by Ron Perlman, by the way, or seeing Rhinox, Air Razor, Cheetor doing that freaking flip transformation. It was so cool, so freaking dope. But then it slowly dawned on me that this still seems like it might be more of a people-centric story, and that made me sad. No shade to Anthony Ramos or Dominique Fishback, or the rest of the human cast, which I'm sure there will be, but I just, like you were saying, Justin, I just wanted this to focus more on a Maximals versus Predacons story. And when this was announced like a long time ago, I was like, they're not going to do it, and it doesn't look like that's what they're going to do here. It looks like it is still very much going to be more of a human-centric thing. And that awesome battle that we're seeing at the end of this trailer, it kind of feels like misdirection. Like that's actually going to be, an opening thing. Like that's going to be like that's going to be a fight scene that's not necessarily going to be like the majority of the movie. I don't know. I just didn't get the vibes from this that it's going to give Beasties fans or Beast Wars fans what they fully want. And I just think that comes from, like you're kind of saying, Justin, the Michael Bayification of Transformers. And it's unfortunate because, again, I've not seen Bumblebee, but everything I've heard from it sounded like that was the right track, and this seems like a step back.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment, but I don't know. It could very well be about the Transformers and this battle between them and these humans that are kind of caught up with it. Like that's sort of how the
what do we need the
first one
humans
worked
for?
out.
I guess is my question.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah,
They live there?
Like that's
right.
Well, because like and then in the past movies there were humans that were helping.
Yeah, and humans have been a part of some great Transformers content in the past. Absolutely, but
Mark Wahlberg.
No, I meant more on the animated side, but what are these dinosaurs are turning into monkeys now? I'm not the best Mark. Justin does a good Mark Wahlberg, but I do want to shout out Liza Koshy, who's voicing RC in this one. I'm stoked just to see her. She's kind of gone away. She's really hilarious. She's obviously she was big on YouTube, and I think I mentioned her show that was like a YouTube Premium in a while ago called Liza on Demand. Check out Liza on Demand. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's a really good series for the fact that it came out on YouTube Red or YouTube Premium or whatever. But it's great to see that she's in this blockbuster movie because she's cool. And I think she should get more work. So, yeah. But this next trailer, you guys, let's talk about this next one. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'm so stoked that I even just get to say the title, which we finally have, directed by James Mangold. The description is as follows. Finding himself in a new era approaching retirement, Indy wrestles with fitting into a world that seems to have outgrown him. But as the tentacles of an all too familiar evil return in the form of an old rival, Indy must don his hat and pick up his whip once more to make sure an ancient and powerful artifact doesn't fall into the wrong hands. This stars Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Mads Mikkelsen, Boyd Holbrook, Antonio Banderas, Toby Jones, and John Rhys Davies, and is exclusively in theaters June 30th, 2023. This was my favorite trailer of the week, probably my favorite trailer of the year. I have so much to say about this, but I'm gonna let you guys kick it off. What did you think of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny trailer?
Well, I think I've seen the first original Indiana Jones, and then I saw the one with Shia LaBeouf in it.
Okay, you're a huge Shia LaBeouf fan here, apparently.
I'm not. I just happen to see
I only watch
his
major
movies.
franchise movies if Shia LaBeouf is in them, is what we're finding out about Meg.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't mean to. But the action in this, the callbacks to some of the old movies, it looks totally epic. I also adore Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and the moment she popped up in this, I got really excited. I love her as the droid in Solo, a Star Wars story, and I have had Fleabag on my watch list forever, and I still haven't seen it yet, and I need to see it. So I'm excited to see her in this. I will absolutely see this movie. I think if I hadn't seen the trailer, I probably never would have thought to go, but it is now on my calendar for the day it releases. This looks exciting.
I'm so stoked. Justin.
Yeah, I think this is classic Indy. It's an adventure. It looks like it very much feels like it's closing out his story and sending him off for a fond farewell. With the addition of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think it's great that it seems as though she'll be probably carrying the torch if they do decide to continue with the Indiana Jones franchise. I think that's the rumor, or I don't know if that's the implication. I don't know. I think it's bound to happen. But James Mangold knows how to craft adventure stories. And I think that this is going to be a masterpiece of just that, a classic nostalgic adventure film that feels fitting for Indiana Jones and his character. I've seen all the indies. I haven't gone back and rewatched them. I'm not as much of a committed fan in that aspect, but I have watched them. And yeah, the one that stuck with me the most was the most recent one with Shia LaBeouf, because A, Shia LaBeouf was in it, and B, the story was so stupid.
Yep.
What I'm really appreciating about this is that, you know, rather than going further with aliens in Indiana Jones, I think they're kind of going into the mystics.
It's a return to form.
The magic.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a return to what made Indy special. I don't know if it was my favorite trailer of this
Really?
weekend.
Dude,
yeah, I don't
okay.
know if it was.
First off, you hear Salah's voice, John Rhys Davies, back again, Gimli himself, and just the narration, and then getting to the theme. And when that theme hits, dude, like, we literally just watched this trailer while we're recording, and honestly, like, I just got chills again. Frickin' John mother-frickin' Williams is the man, and just it gave me, you know, I think 4 came out 15 years since that movie came out. This gave me Force Awakens vibes. It felt like when I watched the Force
100%.
Awakens trailer for the first time watching this, and like, you know, little shout out to Star Wars visually with the Millennium Falcon window that you see for like a brief second. I know it's not the Millennium Falcon, or at least I don't think it is. But the fact that like this just looks like such a love letter to all of Indy's previous adventures. It looks Steven Spielberg-esque, even though it is James Mangold. And I think Mangold knows how to give us a swan song movie. He proved it with Logan, and I think that's what this is. This is Indiana Jones, the character's swan song. It's his final go. It's Harrison Ford's. I'm going to say it. I really don't think he continues to do this again, at least not in a full role capacity, right? They could, you know, 3 movies with Phoebe Waller-Bridge down the road. He could do like a thing where he's like, I guess I'm back or something. Like, I don't know. Like, they could do like a guest thing or a whatever. But I'm so stoked to see, you know, I think just as you were saying, the visuals in the movie look so good. The way it's shot looks so well done. And they know what they're doing with this. And that's just the thing that makes me so happy, is that it is a return to form. I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge, like you're saying, yeah, maybe she does move forward. I'm still on the idea that maybe we get a, you know, with the Hollywood resurgence that Ke Huy Quan has had, I think maybe he could show up as like a end credit scene in this. I would hope
maybe,
to continue the adventure.
I think he'll show up and probably have a very nice cameo on. I agree. I think with his resurgence, they should have him in it. Whether he's integral, whether he's important, and he plays for the part, he just needs to be in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It is very much, he is part of that franchise.
And it's like Indiana Jones going forward might turn into more of the world of Indiana Jones, right? This is the you know, a group of characters that sort of, I remember Indy taught me this thing before. Like, they could really just sort of play off of the idea and sort of reuse a lot of those aspects of the original movie and the original character to build out the world and these characters going forward, because, you know, they like money. And, you know, I think I don't think it's going to be another 8 years. I hope it's not going to be another. How many years did I say it was? 15 years?
I know, but they have to pass the torch
somehow
properly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, look at how Star Wars was handled and how much people revolted against that, and how they were very much trying to transition out some of those characters. The iconography of Indiana Jones is Harrison Ford, just like Han Solo.
So that brings me to my next question. Does Indiana Jones die in this movie?
I don't know. He could, but I don't think he needs to. Like, I don't think he needs to. If you're thinking that, like, that's the only way you can move past Indiana Jones, then I guess so, right? Like, if you want to make money off of this franchise, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to kill Harrison Ford's version of Indiana Jones and pass the torch somehow, because that's kind of what they're doing. But
the Dial of Destiny, is it something to do with time? Like, I'm thinking like a time. Like a dial, like, do you think maybe, like, because we're getting a lot of flashback sequences. By the way, shout out to whoever they're getting to do the de-aging in this
Same guy, dude.
movie. You think
Probably the same
Do you think
guy
it's
who did-
Shamook from the Book of Boba Fett?
100%.
Yeah,
They hired him.
Right.
Lucasfilm hired him, so it's like, of course he's going to be the guy that's probably
killing
running that algorithm. But now they have the capability of making people look old and young, like both. Like they can do both. So, now it's pretty cool that's where we're at with technology, right? With being able to do that, but also we've talked about how you need to kind of
Doesn't
figure out
always
when
look
it's right
great.
to do it.
Yeah, do it in short
General
amounts. But
Tarkin
I
was
think
not great.
this will be. I think these will be
These will serve as context for the
and
story,
integral
right?
to the plot as ways to sort of be like, we're going to structure the adventure around the previous greatest hits of Indiana Jones. So the idea is that like the reason we're getting these flashbacks is so that we can understand what it means for this story and for this arc of Indiana Jones. And I think that's kind of the route that they're going. The flashbacks will be part of the story, and I think that has something to do with like a time dial. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I am so excited. I'm more excited for this than I ever thought I would be. I only watched the Indiana Jones movies like within the last 2 years. So I'm so stoked. I'm really excited. And again, I didn't think that I would ever feel that Force Awakens feeling again. And this, I don't know, this trailer did it for me. It did it. Maybe it's just John Williams. Maybe that's what it is. But listen, speaking of all the feels, let's talk about this next trailer, because I think we're going to be feeling some things. Let's talk about it. We got the trailer for The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Again, shout out to CCXP 2022. This is directed by, of course, James Gunn. The description reads as follows. In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, our beloved band of misfits are looking a bit different these days. Still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill must rally his team around him to defend the universe and protect one of their own. This stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Palm Clementieff, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Sean Gunn, Elizabeth Debicki, Sylvester Stallone, Will Poulter, Chukwudi Iwuji, Michael Rosenbaum, and Maria Bakalova, and will be exclusively in theaters May 5th, 2023. Megan, why don't you kick us off with your thoughts of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer?
That was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I am so excited for the trauma era of Marvel to be over. This looks like it's going to be really sad.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure some heavy hitters are going to die. And I'm not thrilled to think that on that list, because I don't think it's just going to be one of them. I could see Rocket. Mm-hmm. It's that moment where Peter's visibly screaming in agony, and they also show Mantis, and it looks like it's the same scene because it's like they're almost over a table and the white light, and that's what I think it's Rocket. But also, I think we've talked about Dave Bautista doesn't maybe want to do anymore, so he could go. Maybe Groot's gonna die again. I don't know. I think this is gonna be pretty tragic, but it looks amazing. I thought we were gonna have more of Adam, but it was like a flash of Will Poulter, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw me, because the end of like the end credits stinger was him essentially. So of Guardians 2. So I am surprised that he wasn't as integral to the story, at least in the trailer, but I'm sure that will change.
I think they're also trying to set expectations to sort of say like he's going to start off as a villain. He'll become maybe a grayer version of a villain, and then maybe more of an anti-hero later on. And I think that's to kind of help audiences understand that the High Evolutionary, Herbert Wyndham, is the villain for this movie. I really think that's kind of where they're focusing. Maybe a bit of Aisha, will kind of come along with the Adam Warlock stuff. But on your note about Rocket, first off, Baby Rocket. I mean, Baby Rocket. Oh my gosh. It's Baby Rocket, Justin.
Yeah.
Okay, guaranteed, 100%. It's Baby Rocket because I think the idea with it is that like that's him experimented on, right? That's him. That's him being reached into the cage. I'm sure Lila will be there. Lila the otter, who we do see hugging him in one of those moments, which I actually think is a flashback. He looks a lot skinnier in that sequence. I think that is a flashback with him and his girlfriend Lila. Lila is the name is referenced in Guardians 1 as an associate of Rocket. It's just a little visual Easter egg, but obviously they're making her into a full character here. I think that Rocket does die, but I think Rocket dies and comes out of it. I think he comes back. I think he dies for a moment. Let me explain. There's a moment in the trailer where obviously we see Lila. I think that's a flashback, but there's a moment in the trailer where we see Rocket surrounded by glowing white light. And I think that that's him kind of going towards the light. And I think he's going to have a conversation with Lila in that moment, who's been dead for a long time, who's going to kind of convince him that it's worth going on. And I think he's going to come out of it. So yes, absolutely. I do think he dies, but I think it's a fake out. I think he comes back. I think the actual death in this movie will be Drax. I think Drax is gonna, they want him. He wants to move on. We see a moment where he's like shot through the chest in this trailer. So who knows if that has anything to do with it? I could totally see him doing like a self-sacrifice for the team, go out in a blaze of glory, go back to be with my family moment. And I think that could really, really hit. He'll give some sort of speech about the Guardians being his second family, and they've always been his, they've been his family for him, but he's now going to see his real family that was taken from him. So yeah, dude, I'm so stoked for this though. I can't wait to ugly cry at this movie. I think there's so many little things in this trailer. I'm curious to know, Justin, your thoughts. Gamora. What's going on with Gamora? Sylvester Stallone's in the movie. Is she with him with the Ravagers? Is that what's going on?
I think she's with the Ravagers.
Yeah.
I think that's probably. I think Kraglund's now with the Guardians, clearly.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if she's taking over the Ravagers and she's leading them, and maybe she's kind of doing, and that's how their paths will sort of cross. Mm-hmm. Maybe Adam Warlock or the High Evolutionary will be the one that kind of forces them. But yeah, I think what we're going to see is that she's been trudging her own path and doing her own thing, and eventually they're going to cross over. But dude, the classic costume in the trailer with the jacket, and I love when they land on this like suburban town. Like I'm wondering if all of those creatures are like from the High Evolutionary, like if he's the one like that's bred all of them, right? So
I was doing a little bit of digging, and so I think James Gunn is going to go full James Gunn on this. And with James Gunn, the music that he chooses is usually indicative of the actual narrative. Like he finds a way. He's so creative with this stuff. And the song that's playing during the trailer is called "Resident Alien" by Space Hog. So, we're getting the Guardians landing on a planet with it's a residential setting with these aliens. And you have to imagine, I think I saw at least one of them was a space hog, was a pig person. And so this is the High Evolutionary planet, according to the comic books, Counter Earth or Half World. I've always called these people manimals, but apparently they're called new men. And so they're, the Knights of Wondergore is like a storyline that comes with them with the High Evolutionary. And it's interesting because I remember, Wondergore, if that name sounds familiar, we got to see Wondergore in the Multiverse of Madness. And in our Watch Club episodes for WandaVision, we discussed a cow person named Bova who helped birth Wanda in the comic books. There was like a little picture of Bova in the back of the grocery store in the animated opener for WandaVision. And she is technically one of the new men, one of Herbert Wyndham's creatures that he made. And so it's really interesting because, again, this movie, James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy, taking something that's so insanely ridiculous of a cow lady helping to birth these two, children. It's like, these movies help to make these things more normal, I guess, more acceptable to modern audiences, and I think it's just so cool the way that he's gonna do that again. I'm wondering if we're gonna get to see Howard the Duck. I don't know Howard the Duck's origin story, but is Howard the Duck, does he have something to do with the experiments from the High Evolutionary? Like, or maybe that's how they could MCU-ify that version of the storyline. Maybe not exactly his origin story, but kind of tie it in that way. I don't know, man. I'm so stoked. And the Bowie looks incredible. Darcy was saying he wants a Lego set for the Bowie. I so badly want a Lego set. We saw it in the holiday special. I didn't realize it was as big as it is, but it is huge. Like, it is massive. So I'm so stoked. Yeah, is there anything else you guys wanted to shout out about this trailer before we move on to the next one? No? I just want to say shout out to Swole Groot. Swole Groot is, it's for a reason, right? He's got those 8 arms at the end. We get the "We Are Groot" moment. The only thing that I'm worried about, though, with this movie is Drax's nipples. I think his nipples are going to chafe in that suit, and that's going to be a problem. So we'll have to see how long he keeps that.
No, they've probably perfected some sort of nipple protection.
Some sort of nipple cover for Drax.
Yeah, he's going to take it off, and there's going to be something on
That
it.
would be incredible.
Like little tassels,
dude.
Or something.
If they have something there to like protect his nipples, oh my gosh, wow! That's probably my favorite prediction that we've made about this movie. All right, well, let's get to our final trailer for trailer time. This one for The Last of Us. This is for the official trailer. We did get the teaser trailer just about, I think it was like a month or so ago ish. But yeah, this one looks so good. This is directed, this is from showrunners Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, based on the critically acclaimed video game The Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog for the PlayStation platforms. The story takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed. Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressive quarantine zone. What starts as a small job soon becomes a brutal, heartbreaking journey as they must traverse the U.S. and depend on each other for survival. This is starring Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, Gabrielle Luna, Merle Dandridge, Jeffrey Pierce, Anna Torv, Murray Bartlett, Lamar Johnson, Kayvon Woodard, Ashley Johnson, Troy Baker, and Nick Offerman, and is streaming exclusively on HBO Max January 15th, 2023, and it'll be on Crave here in Canada. Megan, why don't you kick us off for this one? What did you think of the trailer for The Last of Us?
Well, I won't have a whole lot to say. I'm just, for those who don't know, I'm not a huge like scary anything fan. And I think I watched, Nate, when you were streaming this game.
Yeah.
I think I watched like half an hour of your stream, and then I texted you and was like, sorry, I can't keep watching this. But I will say the movie looks incredible. The performances look super cool. I don't have any frame of reference to the characters, so I don't know how well they're being portrayed. But it's cool to see Pedro Pascal's face.
Sure.
I haven't seen his face in anything
because he keeps putting
recently.
a freaking helmet over it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that for the people who have played this game and enjoyed this game so much, I would assume this trailer made an impact, and possibly that moment of Ellie walking across that city, is that a moment in the game?
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt very reminiscent of what you would have actually played. So hopefully they do the game justice, because I know a lot of people are huge fans.
I think that the great thing about this trailer is it really does give something for the fans that of the game, to let them know that this is definitely going to have that vibe, and it's going to stay committed to that story, but also shows you some of the nuanced differences that it's going to have from the game, and just how it's going to structure its story. I love that, maybe the people that didn't play the video game would be able to watch this series and get something from it that's entirely different from the video game experience. And it is the characters. It's the idea of what these characters mean and what the story means. And And yeah, like it seems like they're gonna have fun with the way that they're telling it. You know, it looks like the side mission that you got from Last of Us after the initial
The
game
DLC,
release
Left
which was
Behind.
Ellie.
Mhm.
Yeah, Left Behind. It looks like it's going to be featured in this series, and I'm wondering if that's an episode or if that's told to us through flashback sequences. Maybe that's very much how we get the stories of each of these characters, is through that, you know, I use air quotes, that Lost style
Totally.
of shifting the timeline and shifting through the timeline to tell the stories of these characters and how they've come to be where they are, because that's very much how we're introduced to Joel at the top of the game, right? Is sort of through a flashback memory. So, you know, again, I'm excited for this movie because it looks like it's going to pay the right homage to the game, but it's going to feel entirely different from it at the same time.
Very much so. Very much so. Both of you called this a movie. This is a new original
TV show.
series that I am very excited that it is a series, because I think it's a video. With the video games, you have so much time to tell a story. You have so many moments. You can give enough storyline within a half an hour of a person playing the game just by having these two characters talk to each other. So the fact that we're getting a series, I think, works so well, and I'm happy that it's a series and not a movie. But dude, yeah, they've nailed this. To your point, like, Megan, there's so many moments in this trailer where I'm like, oh, I played that. But to Justin, to your point, Druckmann and Mazin have said there will be new surprises for fans of the game, that they've actually incorporated storylines and stuff that they had to cut from the plot of the first game. So yeah, dude, absolutely. Give me flashbacks. I'm a huge Lost fan. I have Lost just written down in my notes here, because I do think I would really love that. I think, yeah, the Left Behind DLC plot with Ellie and Riley, make that a whole, flashback, episode of consistently going back to that. I think we're going to get to see moments with Bill and get to actually meet his partner, Frank. And his, Frank is a new sort of character that they're bringing in for this. And I think the fact that we're seeing him in this trailer, the fact that we see David in this trailer, and the fact that Troy Baker is part of David's crew is really, really cool. Troy Baker being the original voice of Joel is so awesome. And then Ashley Johnson being the original voice of Ellie is going to be playing Anna Williams, who is Ellie's mom, that we never got to explore in the games. So the fact that we're seeing her hold a little baby Ellie, and Justin, you got a little baby Ellie of your own, so I'm sure those scenes are gonna really hit for you, because she's such a stellar actor. And so to see her not in a video game but here, it's the perfect tribute to the character that she's made known, right? And I think it's so cool. Yeah. I'm so excited for this, and I'm so excited for the bloater at the end of this trailer that looked absolutely terrifying, that Megan will never watch again. She'll just never see that scene ever again.
And with that, the visual effects do look really good. It'll be interesting to see what they look like in the series. Because you're right, it is a series. I completely forgot that. But the game plays like a movie.
Yes.
Movie. So, but yeah, I think the visual effects will be interesting, how we see that translate. And I also really love that they're kind of speeding up a little bit of the story by involving more of the I guess they were very much involved in the original game, but the people, the other people, the people that are fighting for their own survival, it looks as though we're going to see a little bit more of that, people at war with each other, based on beliefs and who's right and who's wrong.
Like we could
very much that playing a part.
We could go back, right? We could kind of see within Austin, like we could see the sort of the rebels, and maybe some of those additional characters could be fleshed out a little bit more, and maybe it does kind of move back and forth between Ellie and Joel and some of these other characters. I think like we know that we're going to be getting Sam and Henry as well, and we see them in this trailer, and they look perfect as well. So I think that'll be really, really cool. And also, just shout out to frickin' Gustavo Santaolalla. Like, the music for The Last of Us is incredible, and the way that they found somehow to work in Take Me On into this trailer, I just was like, how did they figure that out? Because it's usually such a positive song, and they're showing all this dark stuff happening, and it just really works. That contrast really works.
Juxtaposition.
So good. So freaking good. I cannot wait to talk about this series. I think we'll definitely do a spoiler, maybe finale spoiler episode, I'm thinking, Justin, for Last of Us, at least.
Yeah, I think yeah, we, based on everything else that's going on, there's a lot of things up in the air, but committing to a watch club per week might be a big task for this series. So probably a spoiler, I would say we could do a spoiler-filled discussion for the first episode and then come back at the finale. Okay. And see how it all goes.
Cool.
So.
Well, I cannot wait for that to be part of my Whatcha. But speaking of Whatcha, now that we're through trailer time, and that was a massive trailer time. Normally we only do like 4 trailers, but again, thanks to our friends in Brazil for just popping out those trailers. But let's get into Whatcha. Megan, Whatcha?
Well, as of recently, I have been playing a lot of Pokemon Scarlet.
There you
as many people have been playing a lot of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it's fine.
Oh no!
I mean, it's like it's Pokemon, which is classic. They've turned Pokemon into an open world game, so I'll give them credit for that. But Nintendo is also responsible for making Breath of the Wild. And I can't understand how they've let these visuals go the way they are.
Yeah.
Just for me personally, I find it hard to focus on enjoying the Pokemon aspect of it and catching new Pokemon and having fun there when everything looks like it's still very much in a beta mode and there's no detail. Very horrible frame rate. I don't know. I'm going to keep playing it. I just don't think it was worth as much money as I paid for it. But it does still have those nostalgic parts of Pokemon where I, pick up new Pokemon or I see them in the distance and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen that Pokemon before. Or they're evolving on their own and I don't have to evolve them on my will, sort of thing. Like I like the surprise aspect of that. So there's good things and bad things about it.
Yeah, I think the discovery of a Pokemon game with new Pokemon has always been a really cool thing. I remember messaging you and being like, yeah, I like the discovering some of the new Pokemon. Not all of the new Pokemon designs are really doing it for me. I think the starter designs are great, but then the mid-level and final evolutions of those designs are really not doing it for me. They're really, really just not great. But I will say they did come out with a patch. I feel like the patch helped maybe like a little bit, a tiny bit. But I will say that the game itself is a lot of fun. I think it's the idea that Nintendo's kind of just like, well, Game Freak. That's Game Freak. That's on Game Freak. As much as Pokemon is synonymous with Nintendo, I think it's a Game Freak thing, and they're okay to sort of just say they can take the blame for it. And it's just with the click that these Pokemon games are coming out, it's just really tough to believe that they've got a team dedicated to actually making it better, as opposed to a team dedicated to just making the next one.
Totally.
Yeah.
They're at this stage of like quantity over quality, which is not my favorite way of dealing with, huge fandom games. Like, you got a lot of responsibility in your hands, Game Freak, and I think they've unfortunately disappointed a lot of people.
Yeah. I'm still enjoying my time with it.
Me too.
But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe there's going to be something that happens that's going to really click for you, Megan. But yeah, if they just could find a way. Honestly, it doesn't even need to be Breath of the Wild. It could just be like what we expect from Pokemon. I don't know.
Yeah.
At the very
I don't
least. Yeah. But Justin, you're one of my favorite Pokemon. What's ya?
Honestly, I haven't had much time.
Baby.
Well, baby, and then watching whatever is relative to what we're covering.
Yeah.
So without spoiling anything that I have watched that we will be covering in the future, that's all I've been really doing. But yeah, I'm hoping I can get back, because there's a ton of movies that are out that are, starting to find their way on iTunes and stuff like that I would like to just rent, sit down and watch, but it's just finding 2.5 hours or 2 hours to do it. It's tough
tough
to do.
Yeah, like I mentioned to you that I wanted to watch Bumblebee in order to get ready for us talking about Transformers. I didn't watch Bumblebee. I wanted to watch Weird. I still haven't watched Weird. But I have been watching a series that I didn't think I was going to put time aside for, and I ended up putting some time aside for it, and that's Welcome to Chippendales, which I was wait, I'm watching Welcome to Chippendales? It's on Disney Plus. It's part of Hulu, and basically, I noticed actually Frank from The Last of Us, who's Bill's partner, is played by Murray Bartlett, who is excellent in this show. And it's great. It's starring Kamal Nanjiani, who plays Showman, and he's like the main character. And I guess I was expecting this to feel more like a Magic Mike, but so thankfully it doesn't. It's not Magic Mike. It's so much better than that. It is indeed like a drama, and I think it's just really cool. It follows like sort of his rise of creating this empire of the male stripper troupe known as Chippendales. I'm only 4 episodes in, and there is some cheese there. They do these things sometimes where it's like, that sort of thing with like biopic miniseries where it's like, hey, that convenient situation has given me an idea. And then it leads to like the next scene where it's like, oh, that was the inspiration for this part of the story. Like, cool. Like, I get it. It's kind of, they have to do that to sort of speed things along because it is a miniseries. But there are moments where that cheese sort of took me out of it. But honestly, I think it's the characters. Like, there's characters in this that I want to root for. Showman I want to root for. There's a character named Otis, played by Quentin Plair, who wants to be more than just a Chippendales dancer, even though he's phenomenal at being a Chippendales dancer, but he wants to be more than that. And I'm telling you, like, check it out. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think it's, like, the best thing that I've watched this year from Disney Plus, but it is, honestly, it's really good so far, and I've really been enjoying it.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about it, and yeah, it's one of those shows that I definitely want to check out. Kamal Nanjiani leaning into a more dramatic role, I'm all for it. So
that is it for Whatcha. We hope you enjoyed This Week in Geek, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And if you want to write into the show with your thoughts on this week's news or any of the content we cover, I'm going to send you over to Mark Wahlberg Justin, he's going to transform into Mark Wahlberg to let you know how you can reach us.
I don't think I can
Come on,
do his
you've done it
voice
so many times.
Or I can, but it you have to practice. And sadly, I am not practiced up and ready for this. So they can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or they can reach out to us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT or on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
Keep in mind, we have a ton of other episodes covering the latest in movies, TV shows, and games out now, including our recent spoiler-free reviews for Willow, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Story, Strange World, Slumberland, and Tales of the Jedi. So go give those episodes a listen and a 5-star review if you don't mind. And we also have some interviews out now, like our most recent interview with the cast and showrunner of Willow, which I just want to make sure I got that right. Yeah, sure. And we also have some interviews out now, like our most recent interview with the showrunner and cast of Willow. Of course, we also have more interviews coming. Let's just say they're from a certain Blue sequel coming real soon. So again, subscribe here. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric so you can keep your ears, eyes, and your long braids peeled for what's to come. Let's just say I see you. Megan, Justin, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. And as we say, love ya.
Bye.
Peace.